This one's going to be pretty short. It's about learned helplessness. It's one of the things that's strongly encouraged in prisons. And as long as you have to rely on someone else for every little thing, your toilet paper, getting out for your meals, making basic decisions about what you can do. And, when you're young, if you grow up in those households where you're encountering abuse, and they teach you learned helplessness. So it's related to the same thing that you encounter in prison. So if you come from that kind of a background, um, even if you're quite the rebel like I was, there's still that reinforcement of unworthiness that just gets drilled into your head. And if you make a decision or an action for yourself, you'll get in trouble if it's really what's good for you. But it doesn't take into account your slave status with those who want to abuse you or control you. In prison, TV is one of the big things they use to control people. They also used cigarettes for a while. And when they took cigarettes out of the prison system, boy, people were getting pretty snazzy. They're not as easy to control if they're withdrawing from, the chemical elixir that cigarette companies put in their tobacco. I've learned that the drugs they put in the tobacco are much more difficult to deal with than the tobacco itself. In fact, even tobacco has some redeeming qualities to it, if you don't overdo it. Anyway, um, but yeah, everything is related to being controlled, and I think learned helplessness makes its way into our society too through taxation without representation. Um, and you can't question it. And if you don't want to pay for something that you want nothing to do with it, it's like, why are you using my money for something I don't agree with? That's taxation without representation. And no one has ever asked me what I want my money to be used for. And so the average person in the country thinks there's nothing they can do about it, right? That's learned helplessness and encouraged apathy and, lay down like you're by your dish, you know, like you're just some kind of a lowly animal or something. And if you don't do it, then you're a control problem. Well, if everyone stood up for what they thought was right and did it without being mean, you know, and without becoming the type of person that we're resisting, we could get somewhere. But our actions, when we try to take our power back, are misconstrued. And, they only want us to be our mugshot for the ex-cons, Some people won't view you as anything less than a mugshot for the rest of your life. And who's going to stand up against that if it's not you? So, there's a lot of people who have turned their lives around, but yet what? They can't get a good job, one that allows them to help people and make a difference in their lives so they don't do the things that we used to do. And, it used to be that you could not even talk to an ex-convict if you got out of prison. It was a thing, and you were considered a threat to society if you talked to somebody else who had a felony conviction. And I think the restrictions on that became less and less enforceable through the years because so many people had a record. What are you going to do? Lock down the whole society? Well, maybe. But to do that, they'd have to build a wall to keep us in, you know, and and then the invisible prison becomes visible. So anyway, yeah, I just wanted to put a few ideas out there, I guess, about this to hopefully give people a little bit more insight about learned helplessness. And you can certainly look it up. This isn't something I just made up. So it's been in the psychological fields and the studies and stuff for a long time. So all right, peace out. The old ex-con is gonna go clean house. Peace.